Hello, YouTube. I'm glad you guys clicked the link. This video is going to be explaining the Americorps Vista program and pros and cons, what I personally like about it, what I would recommend you do it for, and the time in your life that I would suggest is most likely and best for you personally to grow with. So, depending on where you are in your life, for background information, Americorps Vista is for anyone that's 18 years old or older. It focuses on poverty and specializes in capacity building. It's more so assisting people like long term behind the scenes. Like I would say in Americorps Vista, you're working indirectly behind a lot of the disaster survivor assistance programs that are going down. So I would say that the average day in Americorps Vista is going to greatly differ from most state and national programs and Americorps and Triple C programs for the fact that like a lot of it is office work, a lot of it is Excel work, a lot of it is computer stuff, a lot of it is public speaking, talking to people, grant writing. You're basically setting up impacted communities that have been struggling with poverty for years and years and years on like more of like a long-term community assistance issues plan, so that they can, get proper government funding that'll eventually help them raise themselves out of poverty. But if there's anything you guys take away from this video, please remember that Vista's main focus is poverty, not necessarily disaster response, not disaster assistance. I've seen some programs that do help out with poverty of impacted area, but a lot of it is capacity building for food deserts and or areas that have just always been poor. And with that being said, if you're going to travel, this is mandatory for Vista programs if you do not live in the area where the programs are being held. Like I said with the Americorps state and national video, if you do live close to a program you find, example, if you live in Georgia, in Atlanta, and you don't want to go too far from home, and a lot of Americorps Vista people I've met do this, they just choose a program that's in the city or at least in the state that they live in, so it's easy to commute to and from. And Americorps, with that being said, I was asked a while ago, do you have to travel? And I'm going to repeat this same thing with all of these videos. Traveling is essentially mandatory for all of them unless you just happen to live in the area. But if you're not, unless your area is heavily impacted by a food desert or poverty or a disaster, obviously there's not going to be any programs near you, so you're going to have to leave to go to the program. But with that being said, Americorps Vista is special in the case that they do provide you with relocation allowance. They're the only branch of Americorps that does this. They will pay for you to basically travel. They will basically give you a contact information of someone that is or a group of housing or apartments that are very Americorps friendly, so that you can basically pay to live there. To be honest with you, they will slash a lot of fees for Americorps staff, but it's not going to be free. You do have to pay rent for the apartment you're living at. A lot of Americorps Vista members do pick up second jobs just to pay everything off. You are living in the poor areas that you're helping, and you're basically living in the poverty zones to capacity build to help them out of the poverty. I keep hearing people say like, oh, it's BS, like they should take better care of us. Where's this hotel? Where's that? But dude, like you're not there to have fun and chill like it's a vacation. This is lives, man. That's why I have a lot of respect for people who do Vista, because you're not on a team like in Americorps and Triple C, and you might be close to home potentially, but on the chance you're not, which is most likely the case unless you grew up in like those really bad areas, you're going to be in a place far away from home with no team, basically a low-income job. You'll probably have to get on food stamps to help pay for the food of the house so that you can survive over there. And you're living in, you're working a second job just to pay off on like low income rent. Like it takes a lot of like strength of character, in my opinion, to do Americorps Vista. So I had a friend who did it a while back, and she had like 3 people living in a room, and they were splitting rent, so that made it even cheaper. And all of them had second jobs on top of that, but they would not change it for the world because of just the experience of like just living that harder lifestyle of day to day in Americorps Vista. Like it's like it got to show them the underbellies of America that normally you just don't even see in the media. You don't get any representation to. Like, you get to hear voices from people who's normally would be ignored in silence just because they happen to be born below a certain level of income in a less than known reputable area, you know? It really did open and broaden their perspectives of the world and their horizons of what they think about America. That's why I would like heavily recommend Vista for, in my opinion, people that are a little older and more mature, that can handle living on their own, that can handle financially budgeting. I would recommend it for someone who's going to take a break in the middle of college, or if you're already done with college, to do Americorps Vista. I wouldn't recommend it to someone that is younger, because moving out on your own is hard enough. So to do it like this, you would have to be a really mature and financially smart person to be able to handle this kind of shift on your own, especially under these circumstances. If you have a family or anything like that, it would be a lot harder, because again, the money is, you're not doing this for the money. It's truly volunteer work. So if you're single, no kids, unmarried, I highly recommend. Post-college years, I would recommend. In the middle of college, I would recommend. But if you're straight out of high school, no life experience, and you really do want to take that dive and just jump in and just do Americorps Vista, go for it. It'll basically give you a lot of skills that will definitely help you when you're in the real world after you're done. Well, I don't want to say real world. Let's just say when you're done with Americorps and you don't have a program holding your hand, like, and you have to do everything yourself. It'll give you a really good foundation. But in my recommendation, I don't think this is the best place to learn how to handle being on your own. I would say it's better for people who already know how to do it, how to survive on their own, how to live on their own, how to finance, how to budget by themselves. Because unlike the other two programs, you get no help. You got to like stand alone when you do this kind of thing. And you will have some people there, like maybe a roommate or two that are also Vista, but you also could not. And even though at the end of the day, they're not your teammates, they're not going to hold your hand. They might guide you. You might have someone you can reach out to, like a POC, but at the end of the day, you are going to have to stand by yourself on a lot of situations, make calls of what to buy or what priorities like are for this week's check to pay for and last week's. And then there's the factor of if you get a car, a vehicle, like transportation, getting used to the area. Some areas could be unsafe, which I'm pretty sure Americorps has those things factored out when they're providing you a place to stay. But like, you know, bad people travel. I'm not trying to scare anyone off from Americorps Vista, but it's truly a program for those that are ready to truly give back to the community at any means necessary, even if it means living in less than beneficial situations for a little while. It's also a good opportunity because upon completion of Americorps Vista, you basically get something called non-competitive eligibility, where you are given basically a hiring status when you're applying for work with federal.usajobs.com. And I'm not going to say it's on the same level of increase as like the military, but Americorps Vista programs give a huge boost to your jobs if you are trying to get federally employed when you're done. That federal eligibility, that non-competitive federal eligibility lasts for about 2 years, and it's a solid resume booster. I think that's the main reason a lot of people do it. It's honestly one of the reasons I considered doing it myself, but I never got around to it because I ended up joining the military anyway, so it didn't even matter. But that definitely is a huge boost that a lot of people take advantage of so that they can apply that to get the real federal dream jobs after, whether that be in FEMA or immigration, DEA, or some other government organization. So this is unique because this is the only program out of all the ones listed here that give you non-competitive eligibility. And it's basically like it sucks for a little while, but in the long term, you're basically helping out your future self by giving him an edge over other candidates that are applying for jobs that, you know, normally people would just immediately get rejected from or get filtered out from other BS reasons. So I would highly recommend to anyone who is not afraid of living on their own. They're done with college. They have some experience with, you know, money, and they're just trying to make a difference on the world in a less physical way, behind the scenes, capacity building, grant writing, and giving speeches. All right, everyone. Later.